Today's episode is brought to you by Nomad, voted the Flathead's best manufacturer. Nomad is a longtime supporter of the local community and sports scene, celebrating 20 years of building great careers in mission-focused custom vehicles. Nomad, a Montana-based company making a global impact. Visit nomadgcs.com for more info. That's nomadgcs.com for more information. Welcome back to another episode of the Interlake Sports Now. Calling in today is Fritz, neighbor of the Daily Interlake. We're going to talk a little bit about the inaugural season of high school baseball in Montana and take a look at the local softball scene as spring sports gets underway here. Fritz, just kind of starting out, we will dive into softball. I know that's kind of your forte right now with baseball being so new. But I was interested to see kind of your thoughts on, high school baseball coming to the state, knowing that you're a big-time baseball guy and a lot of passion for the sport. So just kind of your initial thoughts on high school baseball making its debut in Montana, and just what do you think it means for the sport?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a cool deal. I mean, I've been in North Dakota watching the high school game, and I couldn't figure out why North Dakota had high school baseball and Montana didn't. And, basically growing up in this state, all you had was Legion, and Legion wasn't as big, I don't think, as it is now. So, there's people on both sides of the fence whether this will hurt Legion or help it. I'm kind of thinking it might help it, might get more kids involved. Some kids don't even go out for Legion because they don't think they'd make it. Maybe somebody will play spring high school baseball and then keep their summers free, give an opportunity to somebody else. It's just more opportunity to get on the diamond. It comes about, 45 years too late for me, but I think it's kind of a cool thing. More opportunity to play a great game. So yeah, I'm all for it.
No doubt. And that's kind of why I just wanted to ask you the question, because in my head, we talk a lot about kind of the Montana football prep legends. You talk about the basketball prep legends, and you don't hear as much about the baseball legends just because it has been, maybe it's a little more with the Legion, it's a little separated. So last thing I wanted to ask you about the baseball scene historically, kind of just, is there who are some of the big time baseball products to come out of the state, whether it make it to the bigs or minor leagues, just a few names that come to your mind as the sport's going to keep growing in the state with it entering the high school ranks?
Yeah, I think, growing up, and into college, I knew a lot of Orioles fans because Dave McNally, who's from Billings, and John Lowenstein, who was from Wolf Point. They both played for the Orioles. As far as Montana legends go, Charlie Pride, the great country and western singer, he played in the Copper League. We've had some great minor league players in Montana, but as far as high school players, there's a handful. Kids from Miles City, Kurt Schmidt, he made the big leagues. Last year, I saw a kid from Missoula pitch for the Cubs.
Oh, there we go.
Take it back. That was 2 years ago that he pitched. So it's hard to find a lot of them, but they're out there. It's a short season in Montana compared to some. When I was in college playing on the baseball club at U of M, we had a kid come out from the football team, Kelly Richardson, a pretty good quarterback, and he got to play 30 games of high school ball and then 50-game Legion. In the summer. I'm like, wow, that would have been great.
No.
So, hopefully some more kids get to do that and maybe get more opportunity to play at the next level after.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leading up to. That's kind of where I was going with it. I do feel like having just that much more baseball, that much more exposure, that much more of a organization behind you to help get you in front of scouts or colleges or whatever, where, now you have not only your Legion ball coaches, now you got your high school coaches. So, hey, that's just another opinion, another guy saying this kid could play. That, that's just kind of where I was going with it. I just wanted to get your thoughts as somebody who's been following baseball in the state for a long time, and now it's kind of a, like you said, it is kind of a big deal, and we'll see how it goes. And I have heard that as well, where it's been a little bit split. Some people are curious if it's going to hurt the Legion game, and I'm optimistic like you. I think it'll ultimately kind of get some excitement going about the sport, and just that much more people involved in it will bounce back to the Legion ball, in my opinion. That being said, I know you said there's really not much on the radar with baseball being so new. Is there anything about kind of the Northwest Montana baseball scene, any players to watch like that? And if not, just feel free to jump into the softball scene and kind of who are the teams and players to watch right here in the local area.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that we only have one AA team in the baseball ranks. That's Butte High. The Butte Miners won the state A title last year, and I think a lot of those players will We'll fill out the roster for the few Bulldogs. So Glacier and Flathead are a year away. But at the same time, Polson has a team. Whitefish has a team. I believe Columbia Falls and Whitefish both have teams. Libby has a team. Eureka, Browning. Browning's a little surprising. They have a team. So, there'll be plenty of baseball, high school baseball to watch for those who are so inclined. As far as who's going to play, I know there's some good Legion players coming back always up in Whitefish and Columbia Falls. So Libby had that good left-hander last year. I don't really know the players. I've been spending most of the day looking at softball.
No, I hear that. And the only other name I'll throw out there, I have heard of Ty Schwager of Whitefish Bulldogs. I know he's a Washington State commit, throws in the low 90s, so that'll be fun to watch. Prospect to definitely keep an eye on. And as far as softball, let's just kind of jump right into it. This is my first year covering softball in the local area. Who is kind of the teams to really keep an eye on, and maybe some names, players to keep an eye on making an impact for sure in the early stretch?
Well, as far as Kalispell goes, Glacier's had the more successful program of late. Actually going back about 9 years, I think. And they got a lot of girls back from last year's team that made the state and won one game. I think last year they took 6 teams each. So, Flathead can build on the performance they got from some really young girls. They're still young. They could sneak in that 6th spot. That's where Glacier was last year, but then they won a game at state, finished in the top 8. And, Glacier's got some good pitching. Ella Farrell is a junior. She was really good as a freshman. Not quite as consistent as a sophomore, but she throws real hard. They moved Brooklyn Imperato from catcher to the outfield. And working a new catcher, looks really good. So it's kind of I think Glacier's going to be the best local team in Kalispell. But that's not to say Flathead couldn't rise up. Every year they threaten to. They've got a good senior leader in Ellie Eve. And, both their pitchers are back from last year. And that's Ava Benson and Lacey Franklin. And their catcher, Lainey Vester's back. And their shortstop's back. And I always look for teams to be strong up the middle. And that's where Flathead is at its strongest. And same as Glacier. Kennedy Goodette's back. She'll pitch a little bit. I take that back. She won't pitch this year, but she'll play second. They've got they're not sure who they're going to have at short. It could be Kennedy. I mentioned Farrell and some good outfielders like Emma Cook. So that covers that. And then when you look beyond on the Class A ranks, Northwestern A, I think you got to look at Sioux Falls. They went 21-5 last year.
Wow.
And have so many good players back, including their ace pitcher, Maddie Moultrie. Aspen Dawson played second base. He hit .540 last year. Sydney Mann will pitch a little bit and play shortstop, at least at the beginning. Demi Renzel, a catcher. She hit .385. Mann hit .507. Dave Kerr's not exactly sure he's going to be in center, but he's kind of looking at Taylor Lingle now. The big problem right now is, while Flathead had a game with Polson last week, it was more of a jamboree type thing. And there's just so much snow. They haven't really even been able to get outside, anybody. So we might have to wait a week or two to see how this all shakes out. But that's where I'm looking now. Libby has some nice players. Polson's really good. They lost their senior ace last year, but they still have they seem like have found another pitcher in Samantha Renfold. So Columbia Falls and Polson. Polson's always good. Columbia Falls has risen up. Those two will be the best of the Northwestern A, I imagine, but who knows?
Yeah, no, it's always kind of early on. You don't know exactly how it's going to shake out, but you did mention something really key in there. Pitching goes a long way, and being strong up the middle, because just having a couple aces and those people who could take away a couple base hits, turn them into outs, that goes a long way, and it keeps your pitcher confidence at the same time. So that all ties in. I think that was a great point. I think I'm really excited to see the pitching at the softball level. When you got people throwing heat on the softball field, it gets pretty impressive. You can get some people ripping off pretty impressive stretches statistically on the mound. Last question, really, just with spring sports kicking off on the softball and the baseball field. Last question, it's softball related. We talked local area. Is there any major power programs kind of in the sport across the state over the last few years worth mentioning, just to give our audience an idea of what to look for as softball gets underway?
Yeah, well, the Eastern at AA was a little bit better last year than the Western AA, I think. But Billings Senior won it and had a really good pitcher. Billings West was really good. But the Billings Senior's pitcher, I think, is at Carroll now, and so they need to reload there. And I was just talking with Abby Conley, the Glacier coach, today, and she figures the Western AA is going to be a really tough race. Capital's really good. Sentinel's going to be really good. Helena High's not bad, and Glacier should be in there in the top 4 at least. So I think the tough in-season schedule that these Western AA teams will prepare them for state, and they can maybe take home a title, which hasn't happened in a while.
And that'd be great to see one of the Northwest Montana teams do that, or at least a Western AA team do that. And yeah, like you said, I think the biggest takeaway right now is just kind of waiting for the snow to melt, the weather to work with us, the fields to get a little bit ready to roll, and then the fun will really start. So, no, thank you so much, Fritz. I'm excited for softball and baseball to tip off soon. I don't know, tip off's not the right word, but it's getting going, but we're pretty much waiting for the weather to work with us. And then once those sunny days comes, we're going to have a lot of fun covering baseball and softball. I'm excited. Thank you as always, Fritz. Anything else you want to throw out there? If not, thanks for your time.
No, sounds good. We'll see you on the diamond.
Yeah, heck yeah. Ain't that the truth? All right, have a good one, Fritz. All right, thanks. All right. Thanks as always to Fritz for joining the show. I am looking forward to baseball and softball, no doubt. Big-time baseball guy, big-time softball guy. Anything on the diamond, you're outside, got the sun. He'll have some gloomy days too, but there's just something about the baseball field, just something special in the spring, softball field, whatever. So I'm extremely excited for that. And, looking forward here in the Valley, we have the Glacier Range Riders in late May and June getting going, our professional baseball team. So a lot of baseball to look forward to, and then, of course, Legion Ball. So I think it's about that time. I got my fantasy baseball draft tonight, so I'm going all in on baseball soon. We also have track and field to look forward to. We have some spring golf, spring tennis. So all that's coming up too. We'll get into all that as we keep it moving in over the next couple weeks. But thank you to everybody for listening. It's been a good one. Thank you to always to Fritz for joining. And I'm just kind of pumped up right now because it's like, here we are. The weather's getting nice, and all of a sudden, we're going to be out on the diamond, watching some sports. Doesn't get much better. Thanks always, y'all. Today's episode is brought to you by Nomad, voted the Flathead's best manufacturer. Nomad is a longtime supporter of the local community and sports scene, celebrating 20 years of building great careers and mission-focused custom vehicles. Nomad, a Montana-based company making a global impact. Visit nomadgcs.com for more info. That's nomadgcs.com for more information.